The $45 trillion I mentioned, I said that was additional investment, not additional cost. IEA said there would be some savings. There would be some savings from reduced expenditures on oil, and would be savings from reduced expenditures on energy. So that was just the added investment. That was not the added cost. So there's a subtle difference there. I really don't have too much to say about what my other colleagues have presented tonight, but I do want to mention, you know, this idea we need to put a price on carbon. I would say we need to maybe put a value on carbon. I'm not sure price is the right word, but as I look at the Waxman-Markey bill, you know, this bill is advertised as an economy-wide cap and trade bill. Well, it is to a point. It's an economy-wide cap and trade bill on top of a renewable energy standard, on top of a CAFE standard, which is on top of a renewable fuel standard, which is on top of appliance standards. All those distort the workings of the market. Now, if I'm a utility and I want to reduce my greenhouse gas emissions, maybe the most efficient way is not with a wind turbine, but because I have to meet my renewable portfolio standard, guess what? I have to go out and buy a wind turbine, which may not be the cheapest alternative. So, you know, when we talk about putting a price on carbon, yeah, we can talk about that, but let's make sure that when we set it up so we get the most efficient bang for your buck, instead of piling on a bunch of mandates on top of a price of carbon. All it does is distort the market and makes the market work inefficiently. And you know, it seems to me tonight there's been more discussion of the domestic situation than the international situation. But I just want to say, you know, the chamber is not opposed in principle to either a cap and trade or a carbon tax or any other varied form of regulation of CO2. You know, we do this on a bill-by-bill basis, but we do have some principles that we think any legislation or new policy needs to adhere to. One, we think it needs to aggressively promote technology. We think it needs to promote more energy efficiency. I think everybody would agree with that. We think the new policy, not necessarily legislation, but the new policy must be international in scope. You know, when you think about it, the domestic policy and the international policy should move in tandem. We've seen what happens in Europe when the Europeans have essentially committed everything, right? They're sitting in the negotiation, having already committed for years and years and years what exactly it is they're going to do. Now the question for them is how much are they willing to give the rest of the world as far as wealth transfer. Essentially, they're playing poker, they've turned all of the cards over, and now they're just throwing money into the pot. That's not a very good negotiating strategy in my view. We think any new policy shouldn't hurt the economy. And we think we need to reduce the barriers to technology deployment. There was a famous case of a transmission line being built in Virginia. It took 13 years to get the transmission line sited. It took 2.5 years to get the thing built. All right? We have a website at the U.S. Chamber called Project No Project, where we actually go around the country and take a look at projects that have been held up or delayed because of siting, permitting, and environmental regulatory issues. These aren't just coal plants. These are wind plants. These are zero-emission nuclear power plants, and these are transmission lines that feed, that would carry electrons from solar facilities. It doesn't matter the hue of the technology project, whether it's green, whether it's brown, whether it's black, it doesn't make a difference. They're all getting delayed. And really, we need to do something about reducing the barriers to technology deployment if we ever have a hope of reducing our emissions significantly.